there. Welcome to the Y'all Show. Talk with a Southern accent as we begin a new week here on the Y'all Show. Hats off to you. And we have a reason that yours truly has a hat on as we welcome you into the Toccopola Storyteller portion of our show. The show that's all about the Southeast. And our Toccopola Storyteller is one Jerry Short. And he's on with us right now. And if I had to take a guess, I bet you Jerry looks a lot like me right now. And there's only one way to find out. We got to go right to Toccopola and do a little visual chat with Jerry Short. And there he is. And yes, he's got on his cap. So why are we wearing hats here? Well, put that hat back on, Jerry. You're about as bad as me here with the way you look right now, as this coronavirus has us going without haircuts and more, and some of us are looking pretty shabby, and we need to keep these hats on, whether they're cowboy hats or baseball caps.
I think I got you beat on the shabbiness.
Yeah, you missed out. I got mine cut around March 17th, around St. Patty's Day.
Every time she's going to take the pruning scissors and get mine.
Is she? Okay, well, she's not there, so you're going to have to.
Told me to get a haircut for about a month before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to listen to her going forward, Jerry Short. We're wearing hats here for a reason. Again, it's hiding our ugly hair right now. Maybe y'all have hats on, but it's also the time of year that we can wear caps. And it's the time of year where I've got my straw cap on because we officially hit Easter, and we can go from our felt hat, kind of what Jerry has on, to more of the straw hat. And Jerry, I don't think you got a really good straw hat. We need to work on that. Perhaps one of our hat makers.
I'm kind of Texan,
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Well, they wear hats a lot. And what I have on, Jerry, you may or may not be able to tell, it's not really truly a cowboy hat. It's more of a Southern gentleman's hat because I fancy myself as a Southern gentleman. But whether I am or not is certainly not up for... You don't think I'm a Southern gentleman?
No, I was going to get a hat similar to this one.
Okay.
And I was up in Texas, up close to San Antonio, where they make hats for all the cowboys. John Wayne had his there. I let them fit me, and I let them set me up. And then I said, and then they started, you want to put a band around it? You want to put silver on it? You want to blah, blah, blah? I said, what's the cost? $4,000. I said, I tell you what, I think I'll come back and think about this.
4,000 buckaroos for a hat.
That's it, John Wayne and the rest of the boys.
Well, Jerry, you're a native of the Magnolia State, and I'm a native of the Powell Meadows State. And I had this philosophy growing up that unless you were from Texas, maybe Oklahoma, or further west, you had no business wearing a cowboy hat unless you were a real cowboy. And frankly...
Well, you didn't go up to 50.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm all for wearing caps and hats and fedoras, but I'm talking specifically cowboy hats, what you're wearing there. I have this personal sort of hatred toward people in the South that try to dress like cowboys, and they probably have never stepped in cow poo in their life. And they're not from Texas. If you grew up in, let's say, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, the Carolinas, Alabama, even Mississippi, and you're wearing that whole rodeo get up and you've never been around a cow or a horse, then I've got a problem with that personally. That's why I've never actually bought a cowboy hat. The best I can go with is these sort of straw hat, more of a fedora hat.
Well, that's cool. But I got a lot of Texas background,
Well, what I was gonna say is you may not have heard me. I'm okay with if you live in any of our 16 southern states and you have some kind of cattle background or horse background, and if you want to have that cattle look, then I'm not going to fight you on that. I just don't like the fake cowboys is what I'm trying to get at, Jerry.
No, I'm a semi-real.
Semi-real.
But I wear a baseball cap.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I was going to talk to you. I've never seen you in all the decades that I've known you. I've never seen you wear a baseball cap.
Well, not that this hat looks that good on me. Take a look at that.
Beautiful.
I look round-faced with
do the Trump thing. Jerry, do the Trump thing. You know how Trump always has had people accuse him of having fake hair, and then he's pulled on it? Can you kind of help prove that your hair is real?
Yeah, mine's real. I'll do it.
Well, pull it. I don't believe you. And there goes a nice swath of it. Okay, it's real, and as we
Well,
said, it's real, and it's in real need of a haircut. Just like
it
I'm
is.
kind of getting
Yeah,
there.
like ponytail style.
Mm,
Mm,
man,
it really is. And
yeah,
now I'll tell you this that you brought. You always bring up something that makes me always think of something.
that's why we have you on here.
My hair started receding when I was 28 years old, and I thought it was receding. So I went to my barber, and he was selling wigs at the time. He convinced me that I needed a wig.
A barber? That's not good for barber's business, is it?
So I bought a wig for about $50 in 1969 or 70 or something like that, whenever I was 28. And I don't think I ever wore it but one time, and I wore it for a Halloween costume party. But it wasn't me, and I didn't recede much further, thank goodness.
Did people think it was a costume, or did they think maybe you were actually trying to pull this thing off?
I was receding now. I mean, but I put a stop to that. I just said to heck with it.
Hmm.
I always wore a crew cut, or I couldn't wear a flat top because my head's too round. So that knocked out caps really. So it was either a crew cut, which is about like a GI special you get when you go to basic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get out, and working in cattle or something like that, not that I do that a lot, but I usually wear a cowboy hat.
Well, it makes you
And
feel good. I mean, it makes you feel like a real cowboy. Here at the Y'all
well,
Show,
my cowboy.
here at the Y'all Show, we've got the whole radio show, talk show setup here. We got the nice microphone, the background, the lighting. And I'm not saying we're a talk show or a real talk show, but we kind of seem like a talk show when we have all
Oh,
the
the
tools.
real deal.
And it's hard to be a cowboy if you're out there wearing a three-piece suit.
Well, the only problem you got if you're out in Texas and out West Texas or at some part of Oklahoma, the doggone wind blows so hard you got to hold it down. And I don't like to wear that little pull under strap.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel more like Roy Rogers and Nellie Bell or something,
Okay.
maybe. But as long as your hat will stay on, I don't know how John kept his on through all those fights he was in.
Not this John. You're talking about that Wayne fella, right?
He did, or Matt Dillon,
Okay.
or somebody like that. So I got my first cowboy hat going to see my great granddaddy in Snyder, Oklahoma. We stopped in Wichita Falls, went downtown, and my grandmama bought me a fancy, good cowboy hat. I think that thing was about $15 or $20, and that would have been probably in '57. And now I wore a good hat like this one in '57.
And how much was
Thanks
it?
to my grandmother.
Your grandmother bought. I mean, I know you were a spoiled grandkid, but how much did they spend?
Definitely. I was the only grandkid, and my mother was an only child. So, I don't know how, if we'd have had two of us, if it'd been two of me, I would have eaten one egg a day, I guess. Because it wouldn't have been enough to go around, I don't think. It wasn't from my grandmother.
Hmm.
Mm.
Good old grandparents spoiling their kids. Let's get back to your hair, if you don't mind, Jerry. We like your
All right.
hats, but I have to ask another personal question since you've already proven that's real hair you got there, and
Yep.
and just so people wonder, I'm not ashamed here on my end. This is real here too, real, just like
Got it.
President Trump pulls on his. This is the real McCoy. Mine's maybe a little receding, but we won't hold that against me.
Hold on 1 second while I'm going to make like a 30-second exit.
Okay.
5-second exit.
All right, you do that. While he can't handle the hair talk here, he's got to go get his pomade. It looks like here on today's Y'all show, as he's Jerry Short, our Toccopola storyteller, and
Love,
and I
I
ask
love what
you,
Yep says.
do what now?
I'm
You
going to show you why I don't work here.
all right, let's go back to Jerry. And why does he not wear hats? Okay, let me see what you got on. That's
Can you read that?
It says Trump 2020. That doesn't look too
That's
bad
how-
on you.
Yeah.
But
But a cap, just look how a cap looks on me.
I think it looks pretty good.
I think I look like I need to be on Gomer Pyle.
Well,
I need to be working at a service station.
you're a military man, and I don't know if in the Army, when you were going through
Well,
the
I
training.
wore a green beret a lot.
Okay. But did you have to wear, like when I was going through my military tutelage, your caps had to come down the 2-finger rule, and I'll
Here,
show you. You had to do the two
here,
fingers,
right?
and it had to come down. You didn't wear your hats like this, is what I was trying to say. So prove to me
Here's
the.
what mine is, just like that.
Okay.
And except for the beret. And my wife never did like it when I was in that special force.
Mm-hmm.
She would call it a beret. She would say, "What do you think? You're an artist in France or something?" So she never would give me credit for wearing a beret.
Yeah, well, it was kind of girly. I don't know why the special forces went with kind of a girly look.
Yeah, but golly, we were the only ones that wore those kind then, and now everybody wants to wear them.
Ah, well, they've gotten
Even
rid of them
color,
now. The military
big
is got rid of the beret as a standard issue for some of the uniforms. They're going back, which I believe is really neat,
Oh
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
World War II. The
I got you.
pink
I
and
got
greens, I think, is the nickname of that outfit. We're talking with our Toccopola storyteller, Jerry Short. We're getting some feedback here, Jerry, on our conversation about hats and hair and more. And I love the hat you got on there, but if you don't mind picking on your hair and head once again, I want to talk to you about, now that you do have hair, you have a lot of dark hair, but you got some gray hair. So my question to you is, are
you.
you,
Here,
yeah, you got the gray around your ears, which most people do as they age. I've got hair that's gray trying to squeeze in there. When did you first start having gray, and when did you accept the fact that you're just going to have to live with it?
I remember exactly the first gray hair I had.
Okay.
I was going to New Orleans down the interstate with my shirt off. I was a little thinner then, so I didn't mind. I was in my, I had just bought a 78 Renegade Jeep, Levi, dark blue. Still got it. But anyway, I looked down and I saw gray hair between my chest. And I said, oh my goodness, I can't have a hair between my chest that's gray. The person with me, I said, hey, take a look over here. Is this, I pulled it out kind of. I said, is this gray? And they confirmed the fact that I had my first gray hair. So it would have been 1978. That was a new Jeep. It would have been 78, or it might have been the summer of 79. So I made it from 40, I made 23 years with, is that right? Yeah. No, 33 years. I made 33 years without getting a gray hair.
And
That's not bad.
tell me where you found it again on your body.
Oh, I found it in the middle of my chest.
Oh,
And I
well,
was riding there without a shirt.
well, what about the
And
rest of your head? When
I
did you
looked
see?
down and I saw one gray hair, long gray hair, just shot out there. And I said, man, this can't be. And I was 33 because that was a 78 Renegade Jeep, Levi.
And what about your gray hair on your head? When did you first start seeing that?
Well, on my head?
Yeah. That's what I was going with. I'm not. Hey, all the gray hair on your chest hair, most people would never see, but they see it when it's on your noggin.
Yeah, they would have me back then, but now they wouldn't now for sure. Let's see. The first ones around my ear probably popped up when I was pushing 50. And so luckily, if I got hair around my ears when I was 50, I'd fooled around and made it a long time without getting any. And my daddy had cold black hair. And the Indian in us, I don't know if Indians have hair or not that turn gray or not. I think I saw Jeff Chandler in a movie one time with some gray hair on him. However, if I made it to 50 without any hair on gray around my ear, then it progressively gets more and more and more and more. And that's probably the reason that I need to go back to a crew cut or something similar to that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of I could go a lot of styles, but I think I'm going to get this hair cut off pretty doggone short, like it should be. And as soon as that opens back up, I may drive to Georgia. And then I heard Oklahoma governor say today, when he was being interviewed by Mr. Wallace, that he didn't think that was
George Wallace.
You know which one, Mr. Wallace. He had a daddy that was a interviewer also.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Mike
You're talking about Chris
Wallace.
Wallace. You're talking about Fox's Chris Wallace.
Yeah. So anyway, he said, I don't think you should be opening up getting haircuts now. We're not ready for that. And the governor of Oklahoma said, "Oh, we're ready. What you do, you call and you set an appointment, and if you can't go sit in the chair to get your normal barber and get your appointments over and then go out, you don't have any business getting a haircut anyway." So we're opening it up in Oklahoma, and kind of like Oklahoma. I noticed I had a great granddaddy that died on deep Oklahoma past Lawton out of Snyder, in the Wichita Mountain Range, but he they have had a pretty good record on their elections the way they vote. I think they go just about unanimously,
Hmm.
even up at Tucson. They go pretty much unanimously for uh, the candidate I'm for usually.
Yeah, I wonder who that would be.
So
Hey, Jerry, back
that
to
would
talking about hair,
uh,
if you don't mind, as we're visiting with our Toccopola storyteller, Jerry Short. And I don't know if you can see it in my angle. I got to talk about your Mississippi kinsman, if you don't mind, a guy that had kind of famous hair. In fact, I got a photo of him here in the background, if you don't mind. I don't know if you can
uh,
see here a guy named
oh,
Elvis Presley at the famous
oh
performance he
yeah,
did in Tupelo back in the 50s. I just found
oh
out that darn Elvis Presley. Do you know what? He was scared of having gray hair and he dyed his hair. I'm sure that's not quite a shock. But are
do you
you
also know that his hair was the same color as mine?
hold
He
on,
got
hold on. Let me compare. Let me compare. Let me show Elvis and now here's Jerry and no, I don't really see the comparison.
anyway. Elvis had brown hair, even in that first movie, "Love Me Tender," in 1957, and with Richard Egan and a couple more pretty good actors and actresses.
Okay.
But he had after that he dyed all his hair black for all the rest of his movies.
I didn't know that. So his hair really was brown. I saw the kid photos of him and he had sort of that kind of brownish looking color. He
Yeah,
was
he had brown hair,
he was a cute guy.
and yeah, and when I knew Vernon, Vernon had gray hair. He already had gray hair at a pretty. So his Cherokee Indian didn't hold up on him. He got some gray hair,
Hmm.
but maybe my Chickasaw held up on me a little bit.
Well, I don't know what I got. I got too much German on my side, but we're
You got
talking.
so much German that I can. Y'all got some should have some reddish tin in y'all's hair.
I'm not sure what we got, but we're hanging in there the best we can.
We are.
We got
We're
some
doing good.
feedback. We'll share with you here about your hair and hats. We're not done talking about good hats though. As I was picking on Jerry for not being a Texan, there has been a time our own Jerry Short has been right there in the Lone Star State, and he worked on the U.S. Mexican border, and he got to
I'm
wear that
sorry I missed that.
and he got to wear that pretty hat, and there was a good reason for that. So I want to talk to him about that time and some stories. Maybe he looked like George Strait there patrolling around the Frio River. Our conversation with the Toccopola storyteller Jerry Short continues as we wrap up this edition of today's Y'all Show. Hang on. All right, Quentin Whitwell tuning in. Hello, sir. Thank you for tuning in. You got you a good head of hair there, Quentin, there in North Mississippi. We're going to jump back in talking to our Toccopola storyteller, Jerry Short, and we're going to talk about Texas and his work there on the border. Scary, scary times a couple years ago with Jerry Short's stories, and that's coming up right now. Our website is Yall.com. Yall is the ultimate guide to the South. We have had so much fun at Yall.com since we relaunched it about 13 months ago now. Hard to believe, but yeah, it's been that long since we got the new improved Yall going, and we have really been doing many, many great stuff here, great features. Really, in the last couple of days, for example, we went on a virtual tour last week of Crystal River, Florida. We hope we're going to work it out. Coming up Thursday, Jerry, can I have you say a little War Eagle to me?
War Eagle.
War Eagle. We're gonna
War
go.
Eagle. You gonna go to Auburn?
We're gonna go on a virtual tour of Auburn, Opelika, Alabama. I think we're still dotting the I's and crossing the T's with the tourism department at Auburn, Opelika, Alabama. But assuming we can get it worked out, we're going to be going on our second stop of our Y'all Spring Swing of the South, and we'll be going to East Alabama and checking in with the tourism officials in not Tuscaloosa, that would be the rival town, in Auburn, Alabama, and Opelika too, there in Lee County, and that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Maybe we get Tuscaloosa here. We're kind of expanding this tour all over the South over the next few weeks as we're doing it virtually. We'd love to be there in person, but unfortunately we can't be there. So we're going to do our best. We're bringing on tourism officials as well as restaurateurs and other extraordinary, ordinary people of Auburn, Opelika, Alabama. Remember, it was about a year ago that area got hit hard by the deadly tornadoes. More than 20 people killed in East Alabama when that tornado outbreak happened. Around this time a year ago, it's been a really rough year there, and now with the coronavirus going on, more heartache and trouble continuing there and throughout the entire country, of course. Okay, Jerry Short, we were visiting with you earlier about wearing caps, and I picked on you for not being a Texan, but actually there has been at least one occasion where you've resided in the Lone Star State on, well, I know it's been more than one that I'm aware of, but I know you've been there quite a bit through the years. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what led you to the Lone Star State and how you got to wear and model that pretty cowboy hat around town. Are you there, Jerry? I guess he has left the building, as they say. Jerry Short. We'll try to get him back on here. Right now, with all the internet being used up by the entire world, we're having issues with some of our various internet outlets and all that. But Jerry Short has worked on the border. I know, for example, about 4 years ago, he was working right around the area about an hour south of San Antonio. Uh, Cotulla, I think is the name of the town. I've never been in that part of Texas, but it's a really rugged area, and it's not very sparsely. It is sparsely populated. It's not heavily populated, even though San Antonio is not all that far away from that area of Texas. And the Frio River is where George Strait sings about. And all my exes live in Texas, and that used to go right through that area that Jerry used to work in. And he had some different jobs in that area, primarily working on a pipeline, and he got to wear that cowboy hat when he would go around that area of Texas, and people would, I think they paid him a lot more attention, to be honest with you, from what he's told me before of his time wearing and modeling the big cowboy hats around that part of Texas when he was going there working on the pipeline. We're still trying to get connected with him. If we're able to, great. If not, we'll just keep trucking on with this, the Y'all Show, talk with a Southern accent, as we are having our Toccopola Storyteller visit with us right now. And like I said, I know he's been there on that occasion, working in the area, I guess it would be near Laredo, Texas. And he had, I remember the stories of him living in a vacated house that was only about 6 feet tall. Now, Jerry, just like me, is a somewhat large man. So imagine living in a home that's only 6 feet tall, but he did it mainly because it was cheap, and living in that area of Texas where you got snakes and people crossing the border all the time, and he had to deal with people coming on his property at all times of day and night. I think he was carrying heat, if you know what I mean, and that is part of the reason he was able to survive that stint there working on the border. And most people like me are too chicken to do something like that, but Jerry was not too chicken because he, unlike me, evidently is somewhat of a tough guy, and therefore we had him back on the time that he was working on the border and creating the jobs there for the pipeline company. I think we got Jerry Short back. I was kind of explaining to the audience, Jerry, that your time working on the border was a couple of years ago, and you worked more on the oil and gas industry line, putting in pipelines and more, and I'll let you fill in with a good story before we get out of here today.
Hey, John?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We're live.
A lot of wind. I think it blew the doggone signal. That happens sometime in this part of the Toccopola world I live in.
Well, good thing you got that cowboy hat, not letting it fly off. But go ahead. What's a really good story from your time there in the Cotulla, Texas area?
If it goes out,
I'll make it work, just like I just did.
Fill it in.
Yeah, I'll fill it in. I'll make up stories.
I don't know if I've told you about this. Where were we leading up to? Was leading up to a pipeline deal?
Yeah, I was talking about that. The house you lived in only was like 6 feet tall, if that.
Oh, you're talking about the one on the Mexican ranch house I had.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a heck of a house. And, you couldn't find a place when I got out to the place called Toccopola, Texas,
Hmm.
just up from Laredo, just
Yeah.
down from not just down.
Oh, seems to maybe lost him again. Like I said, I guess he didn't put his quarter in the machine, but he's told me stories there, and I think he even had a roommate at one time working at that spot in Texas. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't think I could take a residence up there with people walking through my property. Remember, we got a lot of brave people that are proud Texans that have lived their whole lives there in that portion of Texas between the Rio Grande inland to San Antonio, going from El Paso down to Brownsville, the Rio Grande Valley, and the illegal immigration that people come through their yards stealing. Some people have just kind of have given up, even leave their cars unlocked, I think, in some cases, as they realize that a lot of times these people just want to pass through their area and move on as quickly as possible instead of them coming in and killing them to take their vehicles or money. They just, in some ways, and I've actually heard the same story. I know in Louisiana, there at Angola, the state penitentiary there north of Baton Rouge, the people that live in that area, including across the state line in Mississippi, people in that area leave their cars unlocked with the car keys in it. And that reason is if a person escapes from Angola and they come to their house in the middle of the night, instead of coming in, breaking in, killing them, stealing their keys, and taking off with their car, they really want that car is what they're really after, and so they'll just come in and take the car. And I think you would probably know if your car cranks up outside at 4 in the morning and somebody takes off. Usually, the people in that area are conditioned to know that that is an escapee, and therefore, if the authorities don't already know that someone's escaped from Angola, then they alert them that hey, somebody just took our car, and chances are it was an escapee from the nearby prison. And that's probably very similar story at most of our areas around the country where you have large prisons and really bad people that have the ability to get out of jail. It's better to let them just go as opposed to losing your own life or having other violent things happen. That's just the story I remember from talking to people in some of our great areas of the South. Well, we're going to have to give up on Jerry. Evidently, the communication gods just didn't cooperate here with him in his second section of today's show, but we'll get him on for sure and have him talk more. As I said, many of us right now are virtually doing everything, and sometimes it's just too difficult to actually have a virtual meeting, whether it's over the internet or maybe even on a telephone call right now. Darn Netflix has kind of messed up everything, hasn't it? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to make up for it because on Tuesday's show, make sure you tune in. I'm actually going to be having my first teenage interview right here on the Y'all Show. I'm talking to an 11th grade author named Gracie Dix, and she has penned her second book in this year right now, the year 2020. She's already had her second book come out, and it's called Welcome to Superhero School. And we're going to go, speaking of Texas, we're going to go to Dallas and join this teenage author, Gracie Dix, for an author spotlight on our Tuesday Y'all show. And if that's not enough fun, speaking of books, we've got a new book coming out all about barbecuing, and the author of that book is going to join me on the Tuesday show. And our own Matt Hermans, the barbecue barrister, will also be right here in this very spot. And we're going to talk grilling and more with a three-way conversation between the author, Matt Hermans, the barbecue barrister, and Johnny Boy as we have a great Tuesday show. Plus, as I said, we're hoping that the tourism officials in Auburn, Opelika are going to have us on Thursday, and we're going to just blow it up big about what all you can do in Auburn and Opelika, Alabama, whenever you're given the authority to go there. Here, we hope in just a matter of days, and you can go ahead and set your tourism schedule up for East Alabama as we continue on with our spring swing tour of the South, all right here on the Y'all Show. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.